Hey friends, so welcome to DBC Live. Oh, hang on one second. Our special guest is here, so give me just one moment. Hey, we have two guests now.
Hey.
Is that Sean Gaillard?
Is that Dave Burgess? Is that Tara Martin?
I don't know if I'm going to be here all by myself. To everybody's here.
I'm so sorry. I clicked the Zoom link because it is the year of Zoom, and anytime I see Zoom, I just go. So I realize this is StreamYard, so I apologize. I guess
no worries. Well, we are live. We are so excited to have you on the show. Dave is pulled over. He pulled over to comment, but I'm like, hey, you should jump on and join me for this.
Hey, Sean, this is such a big deal that I pulled off the freeway for this, man. I was like, all right, you know what?
Oh, bro, you gotta be careful.
Pull off the freeway. I'm in a parking lot at an undisclosed location where I'm going to be hunkered down for the weekend, trying to catch up on work before a Monday event. And so I'm going to leave it to you two to have a great time because I know you're going to rock it. So hello to everybody in the comments on Facebook Live. It's good to see you all. Sean, great to see you. Tara, always great to see you. And I'm going to be in those comments trying to greet some people and listening to this guy shed some wisdom on the world.
Yes. Hey, Dave, before you leave, I thought maybe you could tease everyone with the announcement of something that we have that's coming new.
Would that be having to do with DBC?
DBCU.
Yeah, well, so you know what? We're going to be putting out a free course. That's right, free, no charge. It's 100% free, and it's going to have a whole bunch of DBC University course authors, and it's going to be all about how to create those wonderful spaces to start a school year or really any time of the school year, how to build that culture in your classroom. And man, do we have some good stuff. And I'm going to be throwing some videos in there too, as Tara. And it's going to be 100% free. We just want to give back to the community. And so we're pretty pumped to get that out pretty soon.
Yeah, it's just a couple weeks. And so I thought I'd let Dave share that announcement before we get started. Who doesn't love free? That's what I'm talking about, Nick. Who doesn't love free? And it'll give you a taste of what is inside of our courses because they really are amazing. We'd love for you to get to see the platform and what you might see inside of it. So we've had some authors share some wonderful 5 minutes or shorter videos of engagement activities you can do with your students to get the year started and really all year long when you're building that family-like culture within your classroom, making everyone feel included. So without further ado, thanks to those people.
Hold on 1 second, Tara. Oh. I have a 5-minute limit too. How am I ever going to say anything in 5 minutes?
You can do two.
Let me give a presentation. I do 2 videos. Okay, all right. Hey, Sean, before I jump out, I just wanted to say one thing. I thought about you many times over the last 2 days because I was in Cleveland, Ohio, and everywhere I would go, there was stuff for like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame everywhere. I was like, oh my gosh, I wish Sean was here with me and like I could get a personalized tour to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How cool would it be to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Sean Gaillard? Oh my gosh, it's like we have to make that happen sometime.
Yeah,
we couldn't do it in 5 minutes, Dave. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. We wouldn't leave. They'd have to throw us out. 2 bald guys, over 50.
Hey, let's make it. We'll just make a day of it. And so, starting off officially, Tara, Sean, have a great show.
Thanks, bye, Dave. Thank you. All right. Well, we are so excited to have Sean Gaillard on the show. He is going to be sharing some amazing wisdom. Sean, tell us a little bit about where you are, what you're doing right now. What does life look like in your world right now before we dive into some fun content?
Well, thanks, Tara. And again, I apologize for my tardiness, and thanks to Dave for
being
on. I feel so bad, but
no.
It's been a little hectic. So, and that's probably why I've been a little tardy. So right now it's August. I am a principal of an elementary school, Moore Magnet in North Carolina. And so our teachers, the teachers that I get to serve they've been coming back, but they come back officially on Monday. So it's really going to be a true Celebrate Monday to celebrate their return. And then, so we've got that going on, and really all of the typical mania that a principal goes through in August. So I'm still working on some hires and still working on purchase orders and those things, and doing everything that we can to get our schoolhouse ready for our future world changers, our kids. And then I got that going on. But then most importantly, my nest, just as my nest is about to kind of fill up again, my principal's nest, my dad nest is getting a little empty. And you are one of my role models for that. So because I know you're a bit of an empty nester yourself.
Yes.
And so our oldest daughter graduated from college, and we have twin daughters who are getting ready to start college. So we're getting like that empty nest thing. And as you know, as a mom, as a parent for your son, all the aches, all the pains as a parent, but we know that they're ready and they're going to be okay. So I've got that going on. Sadly as well. I got,
It's bittersweet. I know. It's so difficult. And the first few months, and you've already experienced it once, so you know a little bit what to expect. I only have one child, so I get to go through all the experiences one time. But with Caleb, I remember just crying. Like, I was so emotional that first month. It was really ridiculous. My husband was he was doing really well, like, compared to me. But I will say, at first, I know that he and I were just looking at each other like, what, do we even have anything in common? Like, we didn't even know what to talk about if it wasn't Caleb. And so that was all like kind of fun too, and interesting and great. It actually turned out really well. But Caleb, he just did so much better being away from us and having to learn all those things the hard way, most of them the hard way too. My son, anybody who knows my son in here, he's precious and I love him so much, but he learns you can ask Dave. Dave, don't elaborate. He learns every lesson the hard way. But it's been awesome to, like, I tell him all the time, you're going to have some great stories to tell your kids one day of all these great things that you've learned. So, and you have parents that love you no matter what. But he did just graduate, so we're really proud of him for that.
Well, that reminds me of an old B.B. King song, The Great Blues. It's my dad's favorite song, and it's kind of like, ain't nobody love me like my mama, but she may be jiving too. But I know you're not jiving when it comes to Caleb, so.
It's true.
I
love that kid more than life, and I am glad that he was blessed with me as his mom, because I'm really not sure how many moms out there can just keep on keeping on. But no, he's precious. I love him so much, and like I said, he'll have some great stories to tell his kids one day that I never had. So awesome. Well, Sean, I know that you are just full of wisdom, and I love talking to you. I feel like when I talk to you, you're like the calm to my crazy, because I'm so hyper, and I feel like when I talk to you, it's just so chill. Like, it brings me down a few notches and kind of helps me chill out. So I'm really excited to learn from you tonight, and I'm really excited just to listen to you, honestly.
Well, we make a good pair, because if you think about it, so I'll use the analogy of your great book, Cannonball In, right? So there's that moment, right? That sense of euphoria that you get when you climb up, and you're at the diving board and you're running in and then you leap, right? And then there's this kind of peace, this zen, this chi, right? When you're midair. So I'm the zen chi midair to your, so I'm that moment. So, so you bring out that great energy for me and that inspiration for me. So I'm just grateful to be here with you at this time. Grateful for Dave pulling over the side. He's in the chat, and it's good to see some folks that we are connected to, and also we got some moms in here that, like Kristen, saying that her daughter leaves 1 week from today. So yeah, call me, Kristen. Or call Tara and I. We'll be your support group. We'll get you through that. So
yeah, or we'll all cry together.
Yeah.
One or the other. I will say, Sean, can I interrupt you one more time? Just reminding everyone who's watching. So if you're new watching, all the comments, hey Brienne, good to see you, Sean. All the comments over in the comment section enter you to win Sean's book, The Pepper Effect. And you definitely want to get some comments over in the comment section. So as he's speaking, if you like what he's talking about, or if you agree or disagree, put it over in the comments, say something, tell us what you're thinking, because all those comments not only engage in the conversation, but they also enter you to win a free book. And we're all caught up on free book winners for Facebook Live, but if you're watching this on the playback because you're putting babies to bed, we are a very family-friendly company, and we will not be choosing winners until tomorrow, so you have a chance to watch this on the live playback. So I'm going to let Sean take over from here. You guys are just going to love his sweet voice and him sharing some wisdom with us tonight.
So I'm grateful. Thank you, Tara, to be here at this time. And Sean, I appreciate your name, and we spell it differently, and I like the analogy. That's cool. George Harrison and Paul McCartney. I'll take that Beatles in that. I appreciate that. So right now, for those of you that are listening now or later, what I want you to do, I got just a couple of quick things for you to kind of help you through. It's August, right? And I'm a principal, and those of you that are in a building right now, in whatever title, whatever realm, whatever, we're all doing great things. Okay. And we have been through one of the most, if not the most challenging year that education has ever endured. And you all, I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful for you. I am grateful for the inspiring and great things that you have done for our kids. I'm a geek to begin with. I mean, look at me. I'm a geek. I didn't go to the prom. I got glasses. I'm bald. So I am a proud geek. And one of the things that makes me geeky is that I love superheroes. I love the Marvel, DC. I was a comic book reader. I still watch the Avengers movies, and I'm big into that, right? So one of the things that I realized about superheroes, the older that I got, is that it's not really about, it is about the superhero. It's about Batman and Superman. But the older I got or become, I am much more interested in the mentor of that superhero. So if you're into Batman, like the Alfred, to Batman, or Nick Fury, who's kind of like a mentor. Or if you're into Star Wars, how Princess Leia has become a mentor to Rey. And I'm very much fascinated. And to me, their stories are much more relevant in some cases and much more important than the actual hero story, because the mentor is the person that has, Paul is beautiful, that, like Professor X, that has shaped the journey and the core of that hero. And we as educators, we have the opportunity to do that. We have the opportunity to have an impact on that. And to me, that is such noble and beautiful work that we are doing, that we get to do for the kids, the teachers, and the families whom we serve. So I spend a lot of time in reflection, but I wanted to kind of share that with you as a friend, as a brother, as a pal. When you look at those superhero movies, check out the mentor, check out the person behind the scenes, and try to make that connection to what we're doing, because the kids that we're serving, there are future world changers, and I believe that. I firmly believe that. I write about that in The Pepper Effect. I've spoken about that to the faculty I get to serve, is that we get to have an impact on that. We get to have a really important part, and it may be a small part, but it's still an important and vital part to the work that we do as kids. Speaking of the Beatles, I'm a bit of a music geek again. Okay, I'm a comic book geek, but I'm a music geek as well, and I really believe in the power of music. I believe that music is the universal and divine voice that unites all of us. And anytime that you're in a stressful situation, we've got that song, or we've got the fight song. Many of you are probably planning issues, or excuse me, not issues. You're planning. I've got issues. You're planning a faculty meeting or an opening day event, and maybe you've got an activity of using, like, what's your walk-up song? What's your fight song? I know Tara has talked about that. I know Dave has talked about that. So I would encourage you to just a little quick story about the Beatles, and this is for those folks who may be feeling disconnected right now, and maybe a little stress filled right now, and you've got some doubts about this upcoming year, but you got this, okay? And I believe in you. In the Beatles, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, right? They formed this little band called the Beatles, and they came from very humble beginnings, and they got very famous and retreated from touring and started and recorded this little album called the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And when they retreated from touring, it was scandalous. It was shocking. You know, no band at that level that was having all of these hits stopped touring. And no band at that time, decided to focus on studio work at the level the Beatles were doing. Well, the British press were very dubious about this, and sometimes the British press can be a little harsh, and so they were writing some kind of pretty harsh things about the Beatles, saying in the press the Beatles were washed up, they're not touring anymore, they hadn't had a #1 hit, even though their song Penny Lane got to #2. And Paul McCartney shares the story about how when they were reading these articles in the studio while they were making their masterpiece, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, that they kind of laughed, because they knew they were on to something. They knew that the world hadn't seen it yet. And they knew that there were critics out there and naysayers out there that were saying all these kind of horrible things, and the Beatles are washed up and it's over and they need to give it up. And Paul McCartney says, as we were reading those news clippings, we said to ourselves, you just wait. You just wait. We can't. Yeah, keep on saying all this junk about us, because you have no idea what we are getting ready to unleash upon the world. We've got a masterpiece. We've got this album that is going to take you on a trip. We've got an album that is doing things that are innovative. We are creating sounds and melodies and harmonies that are going to shock you, inspire you, and uplift you. So how does that connect right now? For my educator brothers and sisters out there, for whatever role that you are, whether you're a TA, IA, AB, whatever it is, AP, principal of the year, principal of the day, principal of the moment, whatever it is. And I know that you are working very hard right now, planning and preparing for another year of what may be hybrid learning or remote learning or in-person learning or whatever it may be. Dave, thank you for making the drop there, because maybe Lin-Manuel Miranda made a connection to the Beatles there. But you just wait. I won't start singing. I'll spare y'all. But anyway, you just wait. Don't let there are folks out there that may want you to fail. There are folks out there that may want you to fall flat on your face. There are folks out there that don't believe in what you are doing, but you are creating a masterpiece. Anything that you are doing in service and support of a child, now especially, in my mind, is a masterpiece. And that masterpiece that you are doing, whatever it may be, whether it's that differentiated lesson, whether it's that creative lesson, whether it's something that you feel, man, I'm going to connect with my kids in this way, it's never been done before. Don't let those naysayers get in your head. And you just sit back, you laugh back at it, and you go, you just wait. The Beatles did it. You're doing it. I believe in you. And there are people, whether it's in your PLN, whether it's within your faculty or department or whatever it is, that believe in what you're doing. And I definitely believe in what you're doing. And I'm pulling for you. I'm the president of your fan club. So those are just a kind of a couple of quick nuggets for you. And I'm grateful to share those with you. So thank you, Tara.
I love that. I think it's so true. In fact, I reposted a quote today on Instagram on my story. I wish I could remember it exactly right now, but it said something like, don't let others put fear in your plan. Just tell them to get out of your way. Basically, that's just basically the gist of it. Just get out my way. Like, let's just do this thing. And I think that's what I hear you saying. You know, you have a masterpiece. They knew what was in store, that the people hadn't seen the work that was taking place on the backside of things. And I think a lot of times that's what's happening with teachers and classrooms and educators around the world. You're putting in the work, you're doing the work, you know what your kids need, and you are providing that. And you just have to trust your instincts, trust your intuition, trust that you know exactly this beautiful masterpiece that's being created. And you may not even really know how beautiful it is, because I think that's how it is with educators. Like, we can see this beautiful thing being created, but then what the kids actually do and what they actually come out knowing and feeling, it's always, to me, extraordinary. It's even better than what I had planned. And so I love that analogy. And I think as teachers, we really have to just go in believing that we are going to show up, we're going to do our very best. And what our kids walk away with, it's actually more beautiful than the masterpiece that we had planned. I think in most cases.
We need to take that and bronze that, Tara. That you got to, I go back. I mean, that's like a quote. That's a blog post. That's a chapter there. Seriously, that's powerful. Well,
you said it. I'm basically just saying what you said.
You said it better than I did, pal. So
we're just a good team. We're the splash.
That's right. That's right. The zen and then the splash. That's how we complement each other. Oh, hey, Melody. Oh, that's great. But I would say too, you know, and I'm going to build upon that, is like there's that little voice too, that unexpected voice that sees something in what you're doing, you know, whoever that may be. And I love when those unexpected moments happen. You know, it's very similar to Dr. King's "I Have a Dream" speech. You know, he had a set plan, and then, you know, the very famous story of Mahalia Jackson, the famous gospel singer, you know, who tell him about the dream, Martin, because he had preached about that very same thing a couple of weeks ago. And so he literally, I mean, there is no, as far as we know, he didn't have like the "I Have a Dream" speech written out. All of that was done from the heart. All of that was done from his soul. And just think about that. You know, someone who saw something and value in what he was doing. And so again, that's so important for what we're doing in the schoolhouse, to listen to those voices and to listen to each other and to tune in, because sometimes it is important to go off script. You know, if you're doing it for serving a higher purpose, or doing something in service and support of a kid, you know?
It's so true. And I think too, Sean, just every time I think back at the teachers and the coaches that made such an impact in my life, they were just doing what they do. They were just doing what all of you under the sound of our voices do every single day, day in and day out, for all the kids within your care. But to me, at that moment in my life, it stood out, and it was so meaningful that when I'm 42 years old, I still talk about it, because it meant something to me. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about this whole masterpiece idea, because, you know, as teachers, we go in and we really do want to change our future. Like, we want to empower the change makers to do great things, but then we don't really realize the beautiful masterpiece that can actually be created from each of them individually. And then when they go out and collectively begin to change the world, that we had some part in that. It's so much more powerful and beautiful than we can ever imagine. I hear a lot of writers like this. They just write a song and they don't really expect for it to be a #1 hit. It's just coming from the heart, like you said. And it's just a song that they just felt, and they started writing it. And then before they knew it, they just put it out there, and it actually was a #1 hit, and everybody's going crazy for it. But it goes back to just where it came from. it came from this real place. And I know I harp on this because I wrote a book about it, but educate from the heart is in the title of my book, because that matters. That stays, that sticks. I don't remember lessons that those teachers taught me. I remember stuff they told me that made me believe that I didn't have to live in the hellhole that I grew up in for the rest of my life. Like there was something that could be done differently. I didn't have to follow the pattern that I'd always seen. I could actually graduate high school. I could actually create a masterpiece because I had all of these mentors in my life that inspired me and pushed me forward. And so just do what you do, teachers. I have such a big heart for you tonight, because I'm just thinking about the weight that's on your shoulders, but honestly, it's the thing that you don't need a program to be able to do. Like This is your masterpiece. Go out there, do the thing you know to do, and serve your babies, because they are going to remember that stuff that comes from the heart. That's what they're going to remember.
Exactly. They're not going to remember, and if they do remember the homework assignment or what have you, it may be a bad memory. But those pieces that do come from our heart, and we impart that to a child. Or if, for those of us that are school leaders, we have also got to inspire and support the teachers whom we serve, just as we were in the classroom. The teachers in school in some ways is our classroom, right? So we've got to be able to impart that same depth and sincerity, and believing in our teachers, and believing in the folks that are on the front lines, and that's so crucial and important. And it can be that one conversation, it can be that one blog post, it could be that one quote, or it just could be that, hey, I was walking by your room and I saw something that you did just so incredibly amazing. You are creating a masterpiece, and I'm grateful for that. I think if we put that into the universe, and I talk about that in the Pepper Effect, this notion of masterpiece thinking, and this notion that every moment can be an opportunity that could and will ignite a masterpiece. And if we have that mindset, man, think about the ripple effect that can have on kids and schools and teachers and families. So I firmly believe that. And there are folks that saw things in me that I didn't see in myself, that I didn't believe in myself. My fifth grade teacher, Mrs. McMonagle, saw something in me that I didn't see in myself that changed my life forever. John Lennon's art teacher, saw something in him that he didn't necessarily see in himself. John Lennon was a bit of a hellraiser in school. You write eloquently about that in your work. Dave, and when I gave him this crazy idea for the Pepper Effect, who would think to put the Beatles and school culture in the same sentence? Dave quoted Hamilton. I mean, who would think to do a rap opera that is now one of the most influential pieces of art, in Hamilton, right? That is, so I encourage teachers, I encourage educators, think outside that box. I know it's an oft-used statement, but you never know. You never know when you combine that idea and combine that level of inspiration and come at it from a masterpiece standpoint. You just never know what great things will come out of it.
It's so true. It's so true. Teachers have such a powerful influence. They really do. And I don't want to mistake, I know we're talking a lot about the heart work, and that is very much, I saw a Nick post over here. We are in the heart work business.
Right on.
We are. Oh, am I cutting out?
You did for a second.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Did I cut out?
It's the good old country Wi-Fi.
I'm here in North Carolina, so we just
you never know what you're going to get here.
Yeah.
But I say just go out there. I don't know if you can still hear me. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. I'm thinking I've frozen.
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me okay?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you perfect. Okay, awesome. So I will just don't forget that the academics, of course, we have to mix this heart work with the strong, high stakes standards that our kids are expected to learn. But they go together. I think that's the thing that a lot of times we try to do. We try to separate it all out. It's kind of part of the masterpiece. It's that love along with that discipline and learning something new. that really creates that beautiful masterpiece. So I know you guys are in for a great year. I think you're going to do amazing work. And man, with the inspiration of Sean, how could we not be ready to take on the world now?
Yeah, I'm grateful for that. No, that's and listen, for those that are listening and watching, I mean, I know Tara is always available, but let's all be available for each other. So if you need a pal, you need a thought partner, you got a crazy idea, you can follow me and find me. I don't mind a DM. And, I would encourage, the great thing about masterpieces is, sometimes when we share those ideas with others and, hey, I'm thinking about doing this crazy thing. I don't know if I want to take the chance or leap or not. There's so many folks in the educational space that I have benefited from and grateful for. And so I always try to do the same and be there and be present for others who, if you need a push or just got a crazy idea, please, I'm here for you.
Yes. And so Sean, if they want to connect with you, I know you have your Twitter handle up there. What other ways can they connect with you?
Sure. So there's the Twitter is one way, SM Gaillard, and then also Instagram is another way. I'm on LinkedIn under Sean Gaillard, Facebook, Sean Gaillard, my podcast, and I appreciate Dave sharing that when I visited his podcast. I'm still smiling at that conversation. But my podcast is called the Principal Liner Notes Podcast, and we are 60 episodes in, and actually looking for some guests, because usually it's just me rambling about whatever record I'm listening to and sharing my reflections on music and leadership and culture. So I am looking for guests, and I've had a couple of good guests already. I'm also on Boxer that's sgale702. And just did a great Boxer group with a great thought partner, Lainey Rao. We did Campfire Combos EDU, and we had over 80 educators involved in just some real kind of mellow conversations about well-being and self-care and what worked about this year. And that will come back in some way, shape, or form. We just did like a 4-week stint on that. So, and of course, I love to celebrate Monday. So if you follow #Celebrate Monday or #The Pepper Effect, that's usually where you can connect with me as well through those hashtags. And please feel free to tag me in the great things that you guys are doing in your schoolhouse and in your classroom or your district. Always happy to help and support and champion the inspiring, world-changing work that you all are doing to help students create masterpieces. And you guys are creating that masterpiece. So I'm with you on the sidelines along the way, cheering you on.
Yes, thanks so much, Sean. This has been just such a wonderful conversation. I've absolutely loved it, y'all. Be sure and check out all of Sean's social media, all of his different platforms. You do want to follow him for more inspiration. It's amazing. And yes, if you have some amazing things happening on Monday, be sure to use the #Celebrate Monday. I love using that one. And thank you, Sean, for joining us on this busy Thursday night for a principal. We really appreciate you.
Tara, thank you so much. Thanks again to Dave. Thanks to everybody for dropping in. Tara, thank you for being such a champion and inspirational force for us, and appreciate your workout posts as well. Those inspire me, because sometimes when I'm feeling lazy and I see you pumping that iron, I'm like, all right, I got to get at it. So thank you for everything that you do for all of us in education. Really grateful to cannonball with you, my friend.
So grateful. Well, friends, remember, we will be choosing a winner tomorrow. So if you're watching this on the playback, add your comment over in the comment section for the Pepper Effect. And thank you all for joining us tonight. We are very excited to have you here. Hope you have a wonderful school year, start to your school year. And if you need anything, we're just a DM away. So bye, everyone.
Peace, y'all. Stay safe.